Part 2 now for this curved bridge, sort of fantasy curved bridge, Saturday night, and let's get going. This is what we have so far. I did just a little bit of tweaking on this thing, and we're just going to go with that. Okay, so we want to do the materials, and I'm going to turn this on here, and we'll just get started here. I'm going to select this part here, and I'm going to create a new material. And it's going to be metal, and let's start right away with that stuff. Okay, it's going to be real easy, all right, for this. So I'm just going to scroll down here using the Procedural BSDF. We don't even have to go into the shader editor. I'm going to change the base color here to a dark, not quite black, but something like that. And I'm going to, I might cheat and just bring the metallic up. Do I want it all the way? Well, let's have a look at this. Bring the roughness down just a little bit. We could try it like that and see. So we did the base color, we got the metallic all the way up, and the roughness down a little bit. Okay, so I want to get metal on some other stuff like the lantern here. So I'm going to select the lantern, and then I'm going to hold shift and select this last, and go Control L, link materials, and that material will be on the lantern as well. And I'm going to do that for the other pieces. So I'm going to select these things, shift and select that, Control L, link materials. What else do we want to be metal? We want these things here. So shift select there, link materials. All right. We shall leave it at that. No, we got one more down here. This one. That one, shift select that one, Control L, link materials. So we've got some black metal in there for now. Let's see what's my roughness at. I'm going to go for 0.3. A little bit shinier. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we want to work on the wood. And so I'm going to create the wood here. I just came into the shader editor and just select something. I'm going to click new. I could do it here, or I could do it over here. So I'm going to click new here and type in here wood. And we're going to create the wood. And it's going to look a little cartoony, a little fantasy-like. We could use, wood image maps and try to get it realistic. But I mean, this doesn't look like it would look good with that. All right, so let's come on over here. And this is what we're going to be creating. So you see we've got a Procedural BSDF. And I've got two noise textures coming out. Now this is a little squished together, but coming out of UV into the mapping. We're going to make a change here on the scale. We're going to go into two noise textures. I think this is the one we're going to start with, into a color wrap. This is going to give us the color of our wood, so you got a lot of leeway there. And we're also going to use some bump. And we'll have a couple of things to do on here. So let's just look at the Procedural BSDF right now. We're not going to switch the color. That's going to be due to the color ramp. So I might bring the specular up, the roughness up a little bit, because I don't, it's wood. I don't want it super shiny. Maybe a little bit of sheen, and everything else is pretty much the same. So specular, roughness. So let's do that. Let's bring the specular right now up to 0.8. Bring the roughness down. No, maybe we'll bring it up. I'll try 0.7. We can add a bit of sheen. I'll just do 0.3. And that's going to be it. So let's go ahead and get the other stuff in here that we need. So Shift A, we're going to need a texture, noise texture. And I'm going to press Control T from the noise texture. And that's going to bring in this stuff. Now, I'm going to be switching this to UV. So I'm going to pull the UV, which means we're going to have to unwrap this stuff. But we're going to do something really simple. We're just going to, in fact, I'll come over to UV editing. I'm using my scroll wheel to move this. We'll come over to here. And you can see that I'm already in this object. I'll go A to select it. And I'm going to use U Smart UV Project. And I'm just going to leave everything and go OK. And we get these relatively straight things, which is great. So now that we've done that, we're going to come back here. And I'm going to make some changes to the noise texture right now. I'm just going to drag these over. All right. So for the noise texture, I'm going to start with 0.83 to 0.7. 0.83. So we'll go 0.83 832, I believe that was 0.7. Let's just double check that. Okay, 0.7. I have another noise texture here. I'll deal with that in, well, maybe put another one in. Just because this is going to create some sort of wavy lines for the wood, and then this one's going to break it up just a little bit, sort of push them around. So I'm going to go ahead and do that other noise texture, and then we'll see what that does. All right, so I'm going to bring in another noise texture here, and we're going to come from the color into the vector, and let's just get the values for this so we're not here all day. 6.3, 2.5, I think that's all we changed, so just 6.3. Okay, now we're going to get this into a converter color ramp. Drop that down, take the color, plug it in there, and I'm going to plug this into here, and it'll compile it, and we'll start seeing what's going on based on, so we don't see much going on, so let's just set the color ramp we want. I'm going to drag the black up, and I'm going to drag the white to about there. So the black is kind of going up to about sort of like a third, and the white is coming down somewhere like that, so you can start to see stuff going on. But I'm going to choose, and another thing we're going to need to do, let me actually bring these in tight so you can see this a little bit better. If I tighten it like that, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the X scale. I just want to get the amount that I want. I'm going to change the X scale to about 20, 20.4, somewhere in that area. So I'll go ahead and I'll use the same. All right, and now you can see what you're getting, which is almost starting to look like a wood pattern. So let's go back to this now and drag that down. This is going to be my main color, and it may take a little bit of experimentation before I get it the way I want it. So let's have a look at what I've got here. So it's this orangey color, and then another one in between is a brownish color. So let's say we're going for this kind of saturated orange. Let's add another key in there, and let's change this, there we go, to like a bit of a more of a brown kind of color. And you can start to see where we're going. So I might just play with this and see where we want to be. All right. All right, I might start with that. And you can see it's going on the posts. And the next thing I'll do is I want to add a bump node. So vector bump. We're going to come from the color into the height. But we're going to need to change these. They'll be a little bit too strong. So let's do that. 0.3 and the distance of 0.8. 0.3. I'll make this 0.8. And then let's go ahead and plug that into the normal, from the normal to the normal. And that's the most complicated thing we're going to do. And we can have, let's have a look over here. And let me switch this to something, I don't know what. I could start with that one just so we can see it. So as you can see, it's a real cartoony style wood. Now, if I come back to the UV editor, and I select these, if I move these, it'll change the texture a bit. If I scale them, I have a texture like that. And I will be doing that. So that's good for now. And so now all we need to do is, let's just go back to layout. It's a little bit easier to see. Let's just do it this way. Select something. Now this stuff is mirrored, so you will get some repetitive pattern, but I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. And you could, of course, tweak these colors a lot more to get what you want. I'm going to select this and press Use Smart UV Project and just leave it like that. And then I'm going to come to the materials and add the wood material to that. All right, and there we go. So it is a little repetitive, but that's fine. This is a fantasy type thing. So I'll go with that. Let's take one of these. Now this one, I'm going to go to UV editing. If I select, actually, let's just focus on that with the slash key. Now this one has a subdivision surface. You don't necessarily have to apply it. If I just take this and I go U I don't know that Smart UV Project will work very well. In fact, let's look at it. This is what you get. And I could be wrong. Maybe it'll look okay. Yeah, see, I don't really like that. You know, it's just like it's not following the curvature. And so what I really want to do is I want to straighten these. And you can do this by hand to try and straighten it, and I'll show you how you could try. What you want to do is you want to find a polygon that's relatively square, and you want to straighten it. Actually, this one looks pretty good. So if I select that one and then I go Control L and then I press U, follow active quads, and OK, it worked not too bad, but they're sort of overlapping and I kind of want to pack them. So let's try this. Let's do pack islands. And we have our wood going like that. However, I can also increase the scale, and I think I might like that. Let's go back and have a look at that. You know what? That's not bad at all for what we want to do. So maybe we'll do it that way. I might show you one other way. Let's go to UV editing of this one. If I do U, Smart, see if I just do unwrap, let's try unwrap. You get a really weird shape. That's not going to work. So if I do Smart UV Project, I wasn't planning on doing that. I was going to do seams. But if I have those selected and I press N, I've got something called UV squares, which used to be free and now you have to pay for it. But if I do that and I go to grid by shape, it'll straighten them real quickly. And I might want to pack after that. I'll use UV Pack Master this time. Do that. And then let's put on the wood material. And you can see that it's not oriented right. All I need to do is rotate 90 and just kind of scale them up. And we have the bottom ones. And hopefully it looks a little bit different than the top one as well. And we've got a bit of bump. So the wood is looking okay. I might change the colors later, but now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just use Smart UV Project. And we're going to add the wood and try it. Looks okay to me. Let's do this one. Smart UV Project and wood. So far so good. Let's do this one here. Let's take this. Let's try a Smart UV Project. So you go into edit mode, Smart UV Project. Choose the wood. Seems the grain is going the right way. You know, and then again we can change this if we want to, but I'm thinking that looks just fine for our fantasy bridge. Come in here, use Smart UV Project, and choose the wood again. Yeah, that looks cool. This one we may have some trouble with, but we may not. Let's try Smart UV Project first of all. Let's add the wood. And you see the way it's going all weird. Now, let's go over UV editing. This one we may have some trouble straightening. It would be a bit of a pain. You could try it. I'd rather not have to. So what I'm going to do on this one is I may actually put some seams in here and see if we can get it. I'm going to Shift Alt and click that middle one there. Control E, mark seam. Let's take that and see what happens when we just unwrap. Okay, we're getting closer to a nice result. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to try my UV squares, and it's worked, and I'll use Blender and I'll pack, and I'm probably going to scale them up and just move it wherever you want. And now the wood is going nicely around this. Okay, and I think it looks just fine. There we go. Now I just want to one more time go through this because I'm using UV squares and you may not have that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the seams and unwrap again, and that looks terrible. Let's go back in and put one seam. You can choose any one. Maybe I'll choose this underside one so the seam will be less visible if it even shows up. Let's try one seam and unwrap. Okay, so we have this. Let's see if we can straighten it just by hand. So I'm going to search. I like this. This is a nice square right there. And so I'm going to, because it's already a nice square, I don't think I have to modify anything. You choose that, this one's active. Now go Control L. See the way it's still white? It's still the active squares, the active square. So it's like the other ones are going to like look at it when I right click and say, follow the active quads. Well, there's only one. Follow that active one. Do what it's doing. Click that, and it's pretty much straightened them out. And let's have a look at that. It's made it work, but I kind of want to just take it and move it, maybe make it a bit bigger. Maybe I don't want it bigger. Maybe I want it smaller. You can choose whatever you like. No, I don't want that small. There. Actually, let's make sure that they're not overlapping. Let's try Pack Islands and then just do that. I don't think that made really much of a difference. Just want to get some of that black in there. In there. All right, so you can do it by hand. You don't have to have the plug-in to do it. Now notice, by the way, if I come back to my shading, and by the way, the lighting is really going to affect this. So if I was to choose a different lighting here, you know, all of a sudden it's looking a lot more orange than it was. And you can come in here and say, okay, I'm going to make a change now. And it'll globally affect all of the wood, right? So you can do whatever it is you want to do there. See, now it's looking yellow there. Okay, and yeah, that looks pretty nice too, but I kind of want a shiny one. So okay, good enough, but I'll come back here and I'm going to make this a little bit more orange like it was before. Okay, well, it's looking kind of fantasy-like. So that's that stuff. I will tell you that I experimented a little bit with this idea here. Let me just shut that off for the moment. And by the way, let's save. I want to come into here. I was thinking of this. I'll just show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to select that face and Control plus to expand my selection 2 times. Shift D to duplicate, pull that up. P to break it out. So this is now a separate object. S to scale just a little bit. And then 2 for edge selection and select there, and E to extrude, pull down. And then I want it to come in a little bit, so I'm just going to press, if I can get this here, let's period key to focus on that. E and S and pull it in, and then select that edge and Control B to bevel it with 3 like that. Now let me just double check that that's not flipped or anything. No, it's okay. And I just take it, and I don't want to push it down too much. I just thought it might look good with something like that, and then we could come in here and go Smart UV project like that. Let's go back to here. I don't actually have to do that because I got the wood. I don't have to Smart UV project. I'm just going to choose the metal, which was just a procedural thing. The only thing I want to do is I want to add on to this the weighted normal and normal's auto smooth. And I just sort of thought that looked good with the metal and this. I don't know. Do you like that better? I'm gonna leave it like that. All right. So now we're gonna move on to the final part, which is the glass of the lantern. I realize that this metal doesn't look overly realistic, so you can add noise. You can do lots of different things, but for this particular video, I wanted to do it relatively straightforward. And I've got a bevel there, and it's looking to me like it could benefit from weighted normal. Just watch this with normal's auto smooth. See that? That fixed it all up. And it fixed it for all of them because they were instanced. And it's possible that I need that elsewhere. I'm not going to do it there, though. Okay, I'm going to leave that. All right, so I want to do the glass now. So let's come over here. And the glass is very straightforward. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a mix shader. I'm going to have a transparent BSDF. I'm going to have a diffuse color. I'm going to make it a little bit bluish coming into here. This is going to be set at 0.5. We're also going to need some other settings, but let's go ahead and do that. So select the glass. Let's go over to the shading tab. The glass is selected. There is a slightly different HDRI, but I think that looks nice. So with the glass selected, I'm going to click New. And in here, I'm going to type glass for the glass material. And I'm going to delete the principal BSDF and it goes black. Shift A, shader, mix shader. That one is going to connect from the shader to the surface. Okay, so connected to that, I'm going to have a shader transparent, a transparent shader that's going to go into the bottom there. And I'm going to want a slight color, so shader diffuse. And make this like a little bit blue. We'll try that. Maybe a little bit more, I don't know. And that's going to go in here. And you can see a slight blue color on this, but it's not transparent yet. But that's the basic shader right there, or material. What I need to do is come over here, scroll down to here to the settings. I'm going to turn on this. I'm going to change the blend mode to alpha blend, and you can already start to see through it. I'm going to actually switch that to alpha clip though, put on screen space refraction. And so now we have sort of a bit of a frosty glass to look through. And I should have that in all of the instances as well, okay? So that's good, but there's more we need to do. I want to select all that glass, go into edit mode, and Shift S, cursor selected. I want to bring my 3D cursor right in the middle because I'm going to put a couple of things in there. I'm going to put a point light first of all. Shift A, light, point light. Now it's pretty big, so I'm going to come to here and I'm going to change the radius. I want it to sort of fit. I'm going to hold Shift and sort of scroll it in. I want a small ball of light there. I'm going to change the color to an orangey yellow color. Change the power to, I'll try 65. And I'm going to just do this in the viewport, or if I rendered it, I'd render it in Eevee. So I'm going to come down here to shadow and turn on contact shadows. Now, let's come over here to the viewport shading and turn on scene lights. And now we can start to see there's some light in there. Doesn't look very good yet. And it's only showing up in this one, not the others. So I need to put this in the collection of the lantern. All right, so I'm going to press M, lantern, and watch the other ones. They all get the light. Okay, because they're instances. All right, so far so good. I may change this to 75 to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to save. Now there's more that we need to do in here. There's 2 or 3 more things we need to do. I think we should have a candle or something that represents a candle in there. So let's just go back to here and let's actually hide the glass. You can see the point light in there. There is no base in this lantern. It's a hole right there, but hopefully you're never going to see that, or you could put one in if you want. I'm going to bring in a cylinder. I'm going to make a very simple candle, okay? And I'm going to make this 18. And I'm going to change the cap fill type to nothing, so it's open. Scale it down. Yeah, this is a really simple candle. You can do whatever you want if you want it more detailed. But I'm just going to push that down there, and I'm going to pull this down a bit. And I think I will just press F to make a face. Here, let's press the period key to focus in on that. F to make a face, Control B to bevel, and I'll just use 3. And then I'm going to come in here, and I think I will I to inset, and then just pull this down a little bit like that. We'll shade smooth, and it'll just look like that. That's our candle, okay? We need a material on here, and so I'm going to take that, come to the materials, new, and I'm going to call this candle. Candle again. Spell tonight. I'm going to change the base color to sort of a yellowish kind of a color, sort of a waxy color. We can drop the roughness down so it's a little bit shiny. And I'm also going to come over here to where it says subsurface and subsurface color, sort of like the inside of your skin, the way your skin is kind of light brown, but underneath, you have the red blood vessels and stuff. So you'll see another color in here, and it may be nice to see it. I'm going to change this to a reddish color, and I'm going to increase this value. And you see the way you can see the red in there? And you can do various other things. So I'm just going to do that for now. So we have our candle. Let's take that candle, M, put it in. Actually, Yeah, we can go ahead. We're going to put it in the lantern right now. And I want to come here. It's called cylinder. I'm going to change the name to candle, because I'm probably going to group these in a minute. But you will see that we have a candle inside there. Yeah, and they're all going to be the same. So if you want them different, you got to make them all different. I'm going to come in here and just pull it up a little bit. It's a bit more visible. Okay, we still have the 3D cursor there. We're going to do something else. Let's bring in let's go with a circle, let's say. Let's just make it 18 vertices and scale it down. We can come back to this, makes it a bit easier. 1 for vertex selection. Let's rotate Y 90 so it's facing us and scale it down. So I'm going to make the candle flame. I'm not going to bother with a wick. I'm just going to pull it down. I'm going to scale this in the Y a little bit so it's like that. And you could probably get away with just that shape, to be honest with you. F to make a face. Let's give it some thickness. So turn around like this. E to extrude, pull it out. All right, so we're giving some actual, physical shape to this thing. I think it's flipped. So let's go Alt-N, recalculate outside. Select this face and select this face. And we're going to bevel, but we're going to press C for clamping. Control B, hold Shift, pull, and I want them to hit and not cross. So I'm going to press C and just pull them in. Okay? And roll up a couple times. You get something nice and smooth. Select it all though and press M, merge by distance. And notice down there we got rid of some vertices. I can shade smooth now. You can have a different shape. You can deform it if you want, but I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to push it down. I mean, I think that's good enough for our cartoon sort of fantasy thing. And this, I'm going to just turn this back on. I'm going to give this a material itself. So this is going to be, let's just push that in again. I know it looks pretty bright right now, but we're going to call this flame. And the surface or the type is going to be an emission. And I'm going to make that maybe about 5. And you can do gradients on this and stuff like that, but that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the lantern as well. Call this flame. I'm not sure if I'm going to make another collection for that. So this is what we're getting so far. And I might want to play with the shape of this. Scale it in the Y a bit more. Pull it down, maybe scale it. Just something like that. Let's Alt-H and bring the glass back. So we're getting there. There's one more thing that I would like to do, though, to make this look even better. I already think it looks really nice and cartoony. All right? And so I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to hide the glass on this one. And I'm going to bring in another UV sphere. Make this 16 by 16. Scale it down. And this is going to fit inside. I'll go ahead and shade it smooth. I'm going to fit it inside there. And I'm going to, let's go ahead and put that in the lantern. I'm going to call this, it's principled volume. And that's why sometimes I like to take this and the point light. Do I want the point light in there? No, I'm just going to take this, the flame and the candle, move to a new collection, call it candle, and then drag that into the lantern. So we get it in all of them. Now don't worry that it sticks out. And now I can find all of the parts of the candle very easily. I can turn them on, turn them off. Okay, now this thing, I'm going to go to the shading tab. This, and you can see it right there right now. I'm going to create a new material for it. And I'm going to call this principled volume, because that's what I'm going to use. I'll get rid of this. Shift A, shader, principled volume. I want to choose that one, slide it over here, and I'm going to connect this volume to volume instead of surface. So it kind of disappears. Now, the values that I want to use are right here. You see, I've got principled volume going from volume into volume. We're going to change the color, and this is going to give almost like a bloom effect to our to both the, I guess, the emission of the flame and also that point light that's in there. So I want a sort of orangey color here. I want this black, and this is very important, the density. All right, so I'm going to go for orangey kind of color here, like that, black, and the density I want to use is going to be, I think I'm going for 0.1. Is that correct? 0.1. All right. Density attribute, leave it there. Anisotropy, I'm going to put that at minus 0.818. So let's just go ahead and do it. Minus 0.818. Okay, so far so good. Emission color is black, strength is 0, and color here, or sorry, absorption color is black, emission strength is 0, and emission color is white. So what am I missing? 0 color, okay, I think all that stuff is the same. Black body intensity is 0, but the black body tint is orange. So 0, so I want to make this a nice bright orange, and I think I'm going to leave the temperature there at that. All right, so let's see what's going on here. So that's in the right place. And let's Alt-H. And what you're seeing here, let me turn those off there, is this glow here. Instead of just a point light, you're actually getting this nice glow there. And that can be affected by changing the size of, if we choose the right thing, and that's another reason there, principled volume. If I scale that, you can get some weird artifacts from that. So I'm just going to leave it down sort of inside the lantern. All right, I'm going to just hide this stuff so we don't really need it anymore. I think we've done what we need to do. Let's just have a look in some different lightings. Okay, and of course you can change the strength of this. Okay, I'm going to leave that up for now. Okay, darker. Now you can sort of see the almost bloom effect on the candle. All right, you can see the emission from the flame and also the point light, and you get that effect there. So we're just going to run through these and see how they look. Just going to turn it over to this side. Actually, it looks really nice from here too, like you're going up the thing there, going up the bridge. All right. Oh, I like this one a lot. Yeah. All right, you get the idea. You can do more lighting, of course, and then you can render this. But I think right now it looks really, really good. So it is cartoony, but it's very cute. All right, we did a procedural wood, we did a very simple metal, we did our glass, and we did our candle with the principled volume in there. All right, and so that's going to be it for the video. If you are making this, I hope you get a nice result. Don't forget you can go to viewport render image, and you can get something quite nice as it is, and you can do some image processing on that. You can take a screenshot of this and and then post-process it in GIMP or Photoshop or whatever you like, or you can set up a camera and do a rendering. All right, so thanks very much for watching, and if you liked the video, please leave me a like, and feel free to leave me a comment, and come on back for more, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.